Hi, my name is Isaac Prales, and welcome to the Entertainment Monster. Today we're going to be talking about X-Men Apocalypse, the sequel to the many other sequel X-Men movies. X-Men, X-Men United, X-Men Last Stand, X-Men Days of Future Past, Deadpool, Wolverine, Wolverine Origins, the list goes on and on. This is probably, the number 8th movie? Or 9th, if you're including Deadpool. Now remember, this is a spoiler review, so we're going to be talking about all the stuff that happened in this movie. So if you haven't seen X-Men Apocalypse and you don't want to be spoiled by it, don't watch this video or come back after you've seen the movie. Now to start off, X-Men Apocalypse, it was okay. It wasn't the greatest comic book movie you've ever seen. It was okay. It was up there with probably X-Men and X-Men 2. If you've seen Captain America Civil War and you think this is going to be a comparison with that movie, Captain America Civil War is a far superior film than X-Men Apocalypse. After seeing all the X-Men movies, it's getting a little tired, actually. You're seeing the same thing. They're having more setup. They're bringing in characters. They're retelling some of the same stories again. It's another origin story for some of the new X-Men characters. You're seeing Jean Grey again. You're seeing Cyclops again. And that can be a little boring. It's probably just too much setup. We already know the characters. We're already 8 films in. We don't need all that setup anymore. It's already done. First off, we'll start off with Apocalypse. The beginning starts off, he's in the temple. He gets locked in down there. There's other guys that are trying to overthrow them. They don't like Apocalypse and his 4 horsemen, so they kill the other horsemen, and he gets locked down there in the temple. He's stuck down there. And for some reason, somehow, he lives 3,000 years inside the temple under some rocks. And then Mora, or however you say her name, she comes down there, she finds the hole. For some reason, she's the only one that's ever let light shine down this hole, to let light shine on the top of the temple to release Apocalypse, which didn't make a whole lot of sense as to why she would be the only one down there and by herself, and she's the only one that ever let light go down there and release him. So, sure, that's the story. That's how it goes. That's how Apocalypse is freed. And then he gets his 4 horsemen. When he's introduced to Storm, that's fine. No issues with that part. When he's introduced to Psylocke, she's not the strongest mutant. There's other mutants that are a lot stronger than her. As to why she was picked, I mean, Storm, Magneto, sure, you understand those. Archangel, that's part of the comics, but I think they should have put another character in there instead of her. Then you have Magneto. It's another origin story for Magneto. He has a family, he's living out there in Russia or Germany, wherever he's at. He's working in some steel factory. Everybody speaks a different language, he's speaking another language. There's subtitles. Then something happens where he saves somebody from being crushed by some metal thing holding like lava or whatever it is. So he saves them, police come back, they end up killing his wife and his daughter, so he goes back to the steel factory and he's pissed off. But this time, instead of speaking his native tongue, that other language, whatever he's talking, he speaks English to them. For some reason they automatically know English now, which that kind of threw me out of the movie. And then of course, just the whole appearance of Apocalypse when he's going to see all these people, all these mutants and stuff. He didn't look menacing. He still, to me, looked like Ivan Ooze. He's blue. He looked like a blue bad Smurf. I couldn't get into it. Why do you have Psylocke, who looks just like the character from the comics and the cartoons? She looks just like her character. She's dressed just like the character. But then you have Apocalypse, and he looks nothing like Apocalypse. He does not look like Apocalypse. That's not Apocalypse. Then you have all the other characters. Now you have Weapon X in there. We'll get to him in a second. It's just the range of characters. If you're going to have the characters look like the characters from the comics and the cartoons, you need to do that for all the characters. Moving on to the X-Men themselves and the X-Mansion. You have Jean Grey. You have a better origin story than what you had in The Last Stand. And of course, they introduced the Phoenix in this movie as well. But they introduced the teen version of the X-Men. So you have Cyclops, you have Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler was awesome. No issues with Nightcrawler. He did great. Cyclops, you still made him kind of weak. He's still learning his powers and he's still crying in different scenes. That's not the Cyclops that we know from the comics and from the movies, and well, not the movies, but the cartoon series. It's a different Cyclops. It's a disappointing Cyclops, to be honest with you. For some reason, you have Jubilee in this movie, but she doesn't do anything. You have several other characters that you could have used and utilized, but nothing really happened with them. It's just a whole lot of setup. Now, Apocalypse ends up in the X-Men mansion. He takes Professor Xavier, and Havoc is killed in the film. He creates an explosion, and the X-Men mansion explodes, but Quicksilver saves the day, and he does his cool, fast scene, and he chases through and rescues everybody. He's the only powerful X-Men that can do that. Apparently all the other X-Men are kind of weak. So he saves everybody, and right after that happens, right after the explosion, Stryker shows up and takes all the other mutants, and nobody can fight him. And he, of course, this is set up to go visit his, whatever that facility is where they have Weapon X. I forgot the name of it right now. So they go there. It's just another side story. It has really nothing to do with the movie. It's just a way to introduce Weapon X, which is Logan Wolverine. So he's been locked up for 10 years since the last film in this facility, which that part doesn't make a whole lot of sense either. If you're looking for a story on this, why so long? Why is he there for 10 years? It just doesn't fit very well. So sure, that's a side piece of the story. It has nothing to do with the rest of the story. It has nothing to do with Apocalypse. They're fighting in there. All the other X-Men, all the Teen Bopper X-Men are there, and they're trying to get him out. Then they get out. They're freed. They free Weapon X. He's out. And then the rest of the story takes place where they're finally taking Apocalypse and his Four Horsemen on. And Apocalypse is still not menacing. That whole giant scene where he's giant and he's tearing the X-Men mansion apart, and he has Xavier, he's moving him around. That's pretty much just a dream sequence. That's in his head. He never got big in the movie at all. It's just a mind manipulation thing where he's fighting Xavier in his mind. So the strongest X-Men really was just the Phoenix, Jean Grey. She's the one that ended up destroying Apocalypse, killing him, with the help of the other X-Men and Magneto. And of course they brought out that spoiler in the trailer saying that Quicksilver is Magneto's son, which is fine. That's in the comic books. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are his children. But Quicksilver says it to Mystique, and Storm knows, but for some reason he doesn't tell Magneto, which, you know, he was really upset. That's why he went with Apocalypse, because they killed his wife and his daughter. So you figure that they would include that in the story, make it more powerful, and tell him that he's his son, but that never happened. There was a lot of disappointment for this film. It's a good action movie. There's a lot of holes in it, just like the rest of the X-Men movie. But for what it is, it's fine. It's a good action popcorn movie. Just has a lot of holes in it. Doesn't really add up to the rest of the X-Men movies, which they never really did anyway. But if you're looking just to watch a movie, just go watch it. It's fun, but you might be a little disappointed, especially if you really like Days of Future Past. If you liked X-Men or X-Men 2 United, go ahead and check it out. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.